You're watching NFL Daily by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey here with the latest of everything going on around the NFL. OTAs are here, and those don't mean that much in the grand scheme of things, but when notable players don't report, even if it is voluntary, quote-unquote, that is somewhat noteworthy. We'll begin with the quarterback, Kyler Murray, who, just like last year, Murray is not at OTAs. He is not at organized team activities with the Cardinals. This was the expectation. And Ian Rappaport says the Cardinals and Murray are fine. They're on the same page. They're moving forward together. And he did it last year. It's not a huge surprise. I will say this. I think when you have a quarterback, especially one who is young, I think that everybody on your team benefits by having the guy who's supposed to be your number one leader doing all of the voluntary stuff. I know it's voluntary. I get all of that. But I think if we were to answer honestly, hey, do you want your quarterback at OTAs? The answer would be yes. And all of this comes against the backdrop of Murray wanting a new contract and the Cardinals and Murray doing the thing that Cliff Kingsbury always does, struggling down the stretch of last year's season. Everything Murray did beyond the rushing yards went in the wrong direction. Now, he fumbled a lot last year. However, he was able to recover all of them. I think it was 12 fumbles. He lost 0. Unsustainable figure. That will jump unless he cuts down on the fumbles next season. Beginning first 8 games of Murray in 2021, will look like a top 10 QB. MVP candidate. Last 7 with the injury in the middle, not nearly the same level of player. That is a red flag for a team who wants to pay the quarterback big money. Murray is asking for a lot. Allegedly, at least Derek Carr money. Honestly, I bet it's closer to the Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen range, because that is the going rate for young franchise QBs. And Murray believes himself to be a young franchise QB. The Cardinals themselves had leaked out some info that they weren't happy with Murray. There's going to be a lot of guaranteed money. And the Deshaun Watson deal with the Browns, by the way, fully guaranteed, is going to be a problem for other young quarterbacks and teams because that is a massive difference than any other QB in the NFL, and it's going to be a problem potentially for those teams. Now, I think this could get ugly. I do believe that the Cardinals and Murray are on the same page, but I don't think Murray wants to not have a new deal in time for week 1. He doesn't want to wait. He's seeing what Deshaun Watson's getting and is going, oh, Watson hasn't done anything other than what I've done for the most part. I should get something similar to that figure. The Cardinals, however, do not have to rush. They've got team control of Kyler for 4 more years, minimum. His 2022 salary, his cap at this year is less than $12 million. Wildly affordable for an, in theory, young franchise QB who hasn't quite shown it all yet, but has the tools and skill sets you want. 2023, it's under $30 million. Not that bad, but there's no flexibility with the cap hit, so you would like to do a long-term deal around then. Then 2 franchise tags as well. There is a lot of money still for Murray and the Cardinals and control as well. There are 3 paths for Arizona. They say, you know what? He's not our guy. We got to trade him. But then you have no quarterback. You pay him right now, but you run the risk of having issues of him not developing the way you need him to. Or you wait and risk alienating him and upsetting him. Which would you do? Or what do you think Arizona would do? Excuse me. T for trade, P for pay, W for wait. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know what you think the Cardinals will end up doing with Kyler Murray. Let's go to Deebo Samuel now, as he is also skipping OTAs for the 49ers. Voluntary, again, still noteworthy. As I'm sure everyone watching knows, Deebo had requested a trade in the offseason after I think the contract talks went poorly. I think Deebo felt disrespected by the 49ers, and with all of the wild chaos with receiver moves this year, he wants big-time money. Now, the Niners had allegedly multiple trade offers during the draft. They shot them all down. That has not sounded rumors because Deebo Samuel is awesome at football. And I know we all remember him probably from his playoff stretch of being a part-time running back. He was actually putting up really good numbers as a receiver. This production is better than what A.J. Brown did last year. And look at what A.J. Brown went for in a trade, a first and more. Then you throw on the 365 rushing yards, and we're talking about a player who approached 2,000 yards of offense last season. That is incredibly valuable. So Deebo, I'm sure, wants big-time money, and maybe he doesn't want to be a full-time running back or even a part-time back next year. But it's understandable why he wants to get paid and why the Niners do not want to trade away Samuel, because he's a huge part of their entire offense. So I want you to be honest with me when it comes to this question. What is the % chance the Niners trade away Deebo Samuel? Head to the comment section and drop that percentage for me right now. If you'd asked me this before the offseason began, I would have said, I don't know, 1 or 2. And then we saw Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, A.J. Brown, Marquise Brown, and Devontae Parker all get traded. Those top 4 names, Adams, Hill, Brown, and the other Brown, all for a first-round pick and or more. That is pretty crazy to think about. And that leaves open the possibility, even if it is low, of the Niners saying, you know what, we've simply got to trade him away. The Niners are in need of retaining Deebo, by the way. Make no mistake about it. Between Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, Ray McCloud, and Danny Gray, I don't think you feel great about that grouping if you don't keep Deebo. That's why, in the end, I don't think they trade him away. Now, if you want to bet on the NFL this year, from in-game betting to including various props and, MVP odds and Rookie of the Year odds, etc., do it with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet, link right there, bottom of your screen, and use promo code NFLDaily. When you put down at least $100, that's going to get you an extra 125% deposit bonus for free to bet with. They are literally giving you the house money to play with there. So if you feel good about a player winning NFL MVP, go put some money on it. Here are your top 4 betting favorites: Josh Allen, Mahomes, Rodgers, Tom Brady. My sleeper bet, by the way, which is not really a sleeper, but he's not in the top 4, Justin Herbert. He's down there more, I think it's 1,200, I believe. If he does win, that is massive. Just put $10 down. If he hits, feeling great about that. So head over to BetUS, chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code NFLDaily to get that 125% deposit bonus. Let's talk Odell Beckham now and his potential return to the LA Rams. Head coach Sean McVay says he wants to re-sign Odell Beckham. Now, that the timing here is tricky. OBJ is, I would say, almost assuredly not going to be back in time for week 1 of the 2022 season after he unfortunately tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. But OBJ had begun to rejuvenate his career with the Rams. His numbers were looking a little bit more like the guy that everyone loved early in his career with the New York Giants. Here's what Sean McVay said when asked about re-signing OBJ. Oh, of course. I really want Odell back on our team. He's a guy that, in a short amount of time, we were able to develop a really special relationship. I thought he brought a great spark to our team. I thought he played really well. He's a great teammate. So of the 2 options we'll give you here, who ends up signing Odell Beckham? Type in R for it is the LA Rams. They're going to keep him. He's not going anywhere. Or O for it's another NFL team or an other NFL team who signs him instead. Bonus points if you say O and drop the team name as well. R for the Rams, O for the other. Now, Beckham last year, his overall numbers were not that great, which should raise a somewhat noteworthy red flag as it relates to his overall production and play, but that doesn't mean he's a bad football player. And I still think that Beckham has upward trends to go forward with as we look there. Now, the Rams receiving core right now, they added Allen Robinson this offseason. They have spent premium picks, I believe seconds on both Van Jefferson and Tutu Atwell, but they want to keep him. That's what they've said. Now, yes, they gave the number 3 that he wore last year to Cam Akers. Something tells me OBJ could get 13 from John Wolford if he really, really had to. I take the Rams at their word that they do want to retain Odell Beckham, and that's my bet as to where he ends up. But I think he ended up with the Rams last year, and after he got cut by the Browns. So chaos could still go down, of course. Now, if you want a top Odell Beckham destinations video, then subscribe right now. We will have that video for you guys later in the week, so make sure you're subbed right here on Chat Sports. If you're watching on a place other than YouTube, it's youtube.com/chatsportstv. Hit that big red button and subscribe right now. Let's look now at Robert Quinn. Jason La Canfora, who is up and down there, he wants to be traded from the Chicago Bears. Allegedly, that's what Jason La Canfora says, that Quinn wants to be dealt. And this does pass the smell test because the Bears are not that great. Quinn is aging and coming off a huge season. And even though Quinn is older, he just turned 32 years old, I do think he'd have a pretty strong trade market in the event he were to be dealt by the Bears. Now, what do you think is likely here? What do you think ends up happening with Quinn and Chicago? Will the Bears trade him away? Make your predictions for me in the comment section right now. Y for yes or N for no. Now, part of the argument laid out by JLC was that the Bears at the deadline could get a bigger haul for Robert Quinn than what the Broncos got for Von Miller, which, by the way, is a massive haul of a second and a third round pick. Now, yes, that became the last second and the last third non-comp pick. That is a significant amount of draft capital to give up. I am unconvinced that Quinn would fetch that much, although he was awesome last year. A very under the radar, because the Bears were bad, 18.5 sacks, 17 TFLs. Look, Robert Quinn is not an elite run stopper. In fact, he's probably not even that good against the run. But when you put up 18.5 sacks, that is okay. Your job is a pass rusher, not a run stopper. So I'd rather have the premier pass rusher than the premier run stopper at the cost involved there. Quinn's 2021 was his best season in a very long time. He was banged up a lot in 2020, was not that healthy, didn't produce very much. 2019, that year with the Cowboys, 11.5 sacks after another down year of just 6.5. Is the every other year trend going to continue? Hopefully not for Quinn, but I do think there would be some interest in the event he ends up on the trade block. The Bears saying they don't want to trade him, per Jason La Canfora. But if they start slowly this season, that could change around the trade deadline.